What it do, cuckolds? It's your boy, the hater. Video number 2 up in this piece. Video number 2. The hater is rather bored and has been for the last 10 days or so. There's nothing to watch on TV. It's all rainy. There's no sports. Wrestling sucks. No new games have come out. The hater's just in a pretty pissed off mood. So what do? I go on the internet and I look up some wrestling news and I see one thing that catches your boy's eye. The Undertaker player has now joined the WWE creative team. Now the question is this a good thing? Is it a neutral thing? Or is it a bad thing? Well, personally, I think they can do a lot worse than the Undertaker player. The Undertaker is an old soul. He fundamentally understands not only wrestling, but he understands what makes wrestling good because he was around when wrestling was good. Now, just because someone has been around when wrestling was good doesn't mean that they know how to book, right? For example, we've got Rikishi. Remember him? Rikishi, apparently I've heard through the grapevine, is complaining on his YouTube channel or wherever. To be completely honest, I could totally see this happening. I could totally see someone like Rikishi being just a little bitch. Just like there's nothing I hate more than people that bitch and moan about how life has done them wrong. You know what I mean? Get over it, motherfuck. That's how luck works. Some people are born the children of billionaires, and some people are born in fucking Congo, and they got nothing to eat. And that sucks, and life ain't fair. But you bitching and moaning about it, especially when you've made something out of yourself like Rikishi has, despite having no talent in doing so, you know what I mean? Is just completely out of touch and really is the epitome of being a little bitch. And that's what I don't like about Rikishi generally. I just get this impression that he's like that, right? Like, look at Jey Uso, you know what I mean? Jey Uso hasn't bitched and moaned. He's just gone out there, done his job, got himself over, got an opportunity, and that's it. Now Rikishi's saying, apparently, that his mediocre family, who is just there because, they must have some video of, Vince McMahon blowing, Gorilla Monsoon or something. There's no other explanation as to why so many Samoans in wrestling, despite their continued mediocrity, are still there, right? And Rikishi apparently feels like his family isn't getting pushed enough. It's like, are you fucking kidding me? Your son Jimmy Uso has a job. This guy should be he's on the level of James Ellsworth. He has zero personality, and he's still there. Solo Sikoa, his whole family's fat. It's a bunch of fat bastards running around complaining, you know what I mean? Anyway, it's not here or there. I wanted to go on that little mini rant just to point out that just because someone's been around for a while doesn't mean they know what they're doing. Which brings me to the serious point of this video. And that is that irrespective of whether The Undertaker will or will not be good, the fact remains that they should not be hiring former wrestlers for the job of creatives. How about instead hire creatives? There are people that go to school, whether it's film school or creative writing classes at the community college, doesn't matter. There are people that are creatives, that are storytellers. There are people that know how to tell a story, and there's people that know how to carry out the story, right? Hiring The Undertaker is kind of like hiring, Peyton Manning, let's say, to be a coach. Now, can Peyton Manning be a coach? Yes. Does Peyton Manning have more experience than the hater at playing football? Yes, obviously, right? Does he have more experience than most men in the history of the world? Yes. Is he better at football than basically almost everyone except for Tom Brady? Yes, he is. However, that does not necessarily translate to every other role in the NFL. For example, Peyton Manning knows how to throw a ball, right? But he might not be that good at catching the ball. Safe to say Tyreek Hill is better at catching the ball, right? Just because you do one part of the equation doesn't mean you can do all parts of the equation. Cuck, right? Same thing with The Undertaker. The Undertaker can book, he can, think things through, but primarily he is an actor and a wrestler, right? He does the physical part and the on-screen part, which is obviously the most important. You know what I mean? Without good wrestlers, as we call them, then, the whole situation is fucked, right? That's like central to the entire philosophy of wrestling. You have to have good wrestlers, but you also have to have good writers. Role specialization cooks. You dig? Without role specialization, we find ourselves in people trying to fit into whatever role is available. And that becomes a problem. WWE is straying too much in the wrong way, right? There are exceptions to the rule, right? Of course, there are people who are good at multiple things. For example, Jordan Peele was a mid-level comedian, if we're being honest, right? Key and Peele is not that funny. They got a few good skits in there. I mean, skit comedy is just like low-level comedy. Like you look at, for example, the Dave Chappelle show, right? Chappelle show is like considered by many to be one of the greatest comedy shows of all time. It absolutely is not, right? Look at Tough Crowd with Colin Quinn. It's like 1,000 times funnier, right? Chappelle show is funny, but for what it is, right? Dave Chappelle, his forte is not skits. His forte is stand-up. He's like a much better stand-up than he is like a skit comedian. His stand-ups are 1,000 times funnier. But anyways, you have someone like Jordan Peele, for example, right? He's like a mid to low-level comedian, but he is an exceptional director and movie writer, right? Sometimes people can bounce back and forth, right? There are exceptions to the rule. Undertaker, hopefully, is an exception to the rule. However, generally speaking, you want the person who is best fit at something to do that something, right? Fundamentally, the problem with wrestling is that people think that passion is enough to make something happen, right? I will go to an example I often use. Eric Rowan and his idea that he should have like the little Indian midget actress in a cage and bring her, like, what a fucking idiot. I know that he's passionate. He thinks this is a good idea, but the optics of it are absurd. You have a little Indian midget woman. Think about how stupid this fucking idiot is. I want to have a tiny Indian midget woman in a cage being a 7-foot Viking, like aggressive male, right? What is someone going to think if they tune into that? They're obviously going to think this guy keeps this little Indian woman as a slave to do God knows what to her. And he thought this was a great idea. And then whoever the fuck was interviewing him, Chris Van Vliet or another one of these yes men, was like, oh, wow, what a great idea you had. No, it's time to call people out on these shit ideas. Uncle Howdy is a shit idea, okay? There are many terrible ideas in wrestling, and nobody just calls them out. We have to just pretend that everyone is smart and everyone has good ideas. No, how about find someone that has good ideas? And ironically, people have this penchant, if you will, in Francais, right? To take ideas that are not explored and then just assume they are good ideas. Like, wow, it's such a shame that Mustafa Ali didn't get the chance to be like the hacker gimmick. Why? It probably would have sucked ass. It's not a good idea. There's no room in wrestling for a hacker. That's dumb. What's he gonna do? Oh, the lights went off. I wonder who did it. Oh, it was the hacker. Was it? Go fuck yourself. What do you think of them apples? Right? That's the problem, right? But then any idea that is fleshed out, people just look at it as if it's stupid, just because I guess they didn't like it themselves. Right? Have you noticed that pattern? It's like the whole Katie Vick thing, which played out to its logical conclusion. People are like, it's the worst wrestling angle of all time. No, it isn't. Motherfuck. No, it isn't. If you're being honest, it fucking isn't. Is it? Is the Katie Vick angle? You tell me, motherfuck. You tell me. Is the Katie Vick angle worse than Rusev as a video gamer? No, it fucking isn't, and you know it. It isn't. Is it? What are you talking about? You know what I mean? Is it worse than Retribution? No, it isn't. Is it worse than the fucking, what's her face, Wendy Chu and Xia Li and the other guy playing the gimmick of a Chinese demon spirit? That infuses them? Is it worse than that? No, it isn't. What are you talking about? I can rattle off dozens of dumber gimmicks. Dozens. Danhausen is a dumber gimmick. Just some retard that appears out of nowhere. Oh, I'm Danhausen. Oh, hilarious. Orange Cassidy is dumber than the Katie Vick, segment or whatever the fuck. The storyline, right? There's a lot of things that are dumber. But for some reason, things that never get pushed to any capacity and are not memorable, people pretend yeah, Vince ruined it. I believe Eric Escobar was going to be the world champion, but Vince ruined it. Oh, I believe Felipe Escalante was going to become the next cruiserweight sensation, but Vince ruined it. Oh, if only Vince didn't ruin Sin Cara and Kalisto. Like, shut the fuck up. You know what I mean? Hire creatives that know what they're doing. Stop wasting time with dumb shit and experiments. Oh, here's Travis Scott. I know I'm shitting on this guy a lot, and I don't really have anything against him, to be honest, but like, come on. They're like, here's Travis Scott. He apparently calls himself Cactus Jack for no reason. He's just some fucking dork. You know, like, that's another thing that hasn't been the same for a while. Like, remember when rappers used to be cool? Like, this guy's a fucking loser. You know, you look at him, I'm like, if this guy, like, even raised his voice, you know, I'd be like, shut the fuck up, you know? And the fact is, this guy calls himself Cactus Jack for some reason, right? Oh, I'm Cactus Jack. And then they're like, oh, look at the WWE's new collaboration with Travis Scott, the Cactus X Jack collaboration. It's a bunch of like clothes that only like a fucking retard would wear, right? And he's like, yeah, I'm Cactus Jack now, right? And they like promote this shit, you know? Like they let this guy, he's just a rapper. They're like, oh, maybe he knows something about clothes. You know, that's another thing that just pisses me off, right? You have all these, like in the DC area where the hater grew up, if you will, for a significant part of my childhood, we have a word called Bama, right? Like, a Bama is someone who is just dressed as whack, basically, right? And who generally is whack. So, you know, that word Bama comes to your boy's mind all the fucking time. When I see, like, a lot of the shit that rappers design, right? It's like, oh, this thing, like, they're like people say, unironically, they're like, Kanye West is a fashion genius. No, he isn't. He's a Bama. You know what I'm saying? He is a Bama. Like, it's like anybody that wears that shit outside is an embarrassment. You know what I mean? Same thing with this Cactus Jack. It's like, here's like a $2,000 jacket. It looks like shit. You know what I'm saying? It looks like shit. For $2,000, you can get like a legit jacket. You can even get like a Gucci jacket. You know, if you're into that kind of shit. The hater used to be into fashion quite a bit, but, you know, then I grew up, motherfucks. The point is, you know, leave it at that, all right? Let the creatives do it. Just because Kanye West can make a song and because fucking Travis Scott can make a song doesn't mean that they can go and design shoes all of a sudden. You know, those shoes look like shit, you know? And the hater used to be a sneakerhead back in the day, too. I wear many hats, motherfucks. So there's that. The same thing can be said. Just because The Undertaker can put on a 5-star match with Shawn Michaels doesn't mean that The Undertaker knows how to book like Austin Theory. You dig? And with that being said, take care of yourselves and go fuck your mothers.